A normal person on Christmas would be spending time with friends, family, throwing on the Muppet Christmas Carol, a little bit of eggnog, a little bit of kicking back. The President of the United States is incriminating himself by tweeting about Jeffrey Epstein as he clearly loses his mind, I guess, in Mar-a-Lago. That is what Donald Trump is doing right now. He's put up about 200 posts on Truth Social today, which shows you everything you really need to know about his non-relationship with Melania and anyone else at Mar-a-Lago. But the worst was the one he made about Epstein that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. And it's a nice little Christmas gift. But before we get into Trump, I want to start with all the context, which is the latest incriminating report on Epstein that clearly has Trump making this specific post, and it comes to us from Lawrence O'Donnell right here.
We don't yet know how much of the redacting of the Epstein files involves redacting the word Trump. But we do know that the completely corrupted Trump Justice Department is capable of continuing to try to cover up whatever they believe they need to cover up for Donald Trump in the Epstein files. The Trump Justice Department is and will remain completely corrupted. They therefore have no credibility at all in anything that they say about the Epstein files. And so when Todd Blanche tells you that something is fake in the Epstein files, like a handwritten letter from Jeffrey Epstein to another pedophile in prison, Todd Blanche should not be able to convince anyone that that letter is fake. There are real reasons to believe it is fake, and there are ways of determining it is fake. But Todd Blanche does not have the credibility necessary to make that case. So all of the assessment of what is and isn't fake in the Epstein files will be made outside of the Trump Justice Department, because the Trump Justice Department is completely corrupted and there to do nothing other than try to defend Donald Trump. Todd Blanche lied today in a written statement about the Epstein files, saying that any of the negative information about Donald Trump in the Epstein files, if true, quote, certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. That is a lie. That is Todd Blanche pretending that the Biden Justice Department or the Obama Justice Department were corrupt like the Trump Justice Department. The Epstein files contains a claim by Jeffrey Epstein's brother that he believes, without evidence, that Donald Trump had Jeffrey Epstein killed in prison. The brother offers no evidence of that. There is no evidence of that. And that claim existed in the Epstein files during the Biden presidency. And no one in Merrick Garland's Justice Department ever dreamed of releasing that information. No one weaponized that unfounded claim by Jeffrey Epstein's brother. Since Todd Blanche works in a completely corrupted Justice Department, he knows what he would have done with statements like that about an enemy of Donald Trump's. Marjorie Taylor Greene has seen enough. The Republican member of Congress who built her entire political career on enthusiastic support for Donald Trump, but then lost Donald Trump's support when she demanded the release of the Epstein files, said today, "This is horrifying. Trump called me a traitor for fighting him to release the Epstein files and standing with women who were raped, jailed in stalls, and trafficked to men. Only evil people would hide this and protect those who participated. I pray for these women." Donald Trump tried to hide it. Donald Trump's attorney general tried to hide it. Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyer, now his deputy attorney general, tried to hide it. Donald Trump's clownish FBI director tried to hide it. Only evil people would be co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. Evil people like Ghislaine Maxwell, who Donald Trump wishes well.
Donald Trump tweeted years ago that he wasn't on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. That was a lie. Donald Trump is constantly saying that the Epstein files are a hoax and he barely knew this guy. That's not true. He himself has admitted that he was his best buddy. Trump says that nothing nefarious ever happened with Epstein. The first person who would tell you that's not the case is Donald Trump in many instances, but also Jeffrey Epstein. Everything has been a lie, and every lie has only brought more attention to the fact that there is a large-scale failed cover-up going on that only makes it all the more incriminating. It is why Donald Trump, on this Christmas day, isn't spending time with the family who hates him or the friends who are trying to grift off his name or any of his sycophants, I guess, because maybe they're hibernating and they can't enjoy the holiday season, but posting this insane collapse of a message on Truth Social. In a quite lengthy post, Trump wrote, "Merry Christmas to all, including the many sleazebags who loved Jeffrey Epstein, gave him bundles of money, went to his island, attended his parties, and thought he was the greatest guy on earth, only to drop him like a dog when things got too hot, falsely claimed they had nothing to do with him, didn't know him, said he was a disgusting person, and then blame, of course, Donald J. Trump, who was actually the only one who did drop Epstein, and long before it became fashionable to do so. When their names got brought out in the ongoing radical left witch hunt, plus one lowlife Republican, Massey, and it is revealed that they are all, or Democrats all, there will be a lot of explaining to do. How much like there was when it was made public that the Russia hoax was a fictitious story, a total scam, and had nothing to do with Trump. The failing New York Times, among many others, was forced to apologize for their bad and faulty election reporting, even to the point of losing many subscribers due to their highly inaccurate fake coverage. Now the same losers are at it again. Only this time, so many of their friends, mostly innocent, will be badly hurt and reputationally tarnished. But sadly, that's the way it is in the world of corrupt Democrat politics. Enjoy what may be your last Merry Christmas, President Donald Trump. Okay, so there's a lot to get into. I'd first like to start with the fact that it's very difficult for you to say, Donald, that this is both all a hoax and the thing that's going to end Democrats entirely. And which Democrats are you talking about? No one's defending Bill Clinton. I never want to hear from Bill Clinton again. There's no one who is ripping their face out like, oh my God, Bill Clinton, what a shame. It was disgusting how close his ties were with Epstein. The Democratic Party shouldn't want nothing to do with him. It's not something that we're sticking by. And it's really revealing that Donald Trump, I guess another way that they try to spin this somehow being a hoax, is that Democrats are playing politics with the Epstein issue. I'd like to make one thing very clear. Unfortunately, Joe Biden, one, wouldn't ever put pressure on his DOJ, and two, if he did, any release of Epstein files at the same time that Ghislaine Maxwell was undergoing a trial, was being convicted, was sentenced ultimately, and after her appeal was shut down, if any of those files had been released, it could have potentially stopped her from being put in prison. So Joe Biden's decision to do so wasn't because, as the right always likes to say, there was nothing in it that could have hurt Trump. He was just making sure that actual accountability was brought. Now, sure, Merrick Garland was a fuck up, and that's besides the point. And sure, maybe Joe Biden or Kamala Harris could have talked about the fact that Donald Trump was close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. That wouldn't have, thrown a wrench in any of the Maxwell trial. That wouldn't have stopped anything, right? We should have been talking about that more. But the idea that this is now a political football for Democrats reveals actually how Republicans view this issue. They viewed it as a pawn that they could play with during the election only to move on. And now that they see it as inconvenient, they are saying that Democrats are seizing on it because it's convenient, because it previously was for them. It's really just a self-report they're telling on themselves as they view this issue as not a way to bring justice to survivors, but a way to score cheap political points that they have lost. Now, Donald Trump saying that he was the first one to turn on Epstein is also an admission that there was something to turn on Epstein for, and that he was a creep. And so if you were hanging out with him again and again and again, and he was your best buddy, and you two were like playing grab ass with each other, talking about which 13-year-olds you like the most? No, Donald Trump was split up with Epstein after a business deal went wrong, and we still don't know if they were ever actually no longer friends, because Epstein said that he was at Mar-a-Lago for Thanksgiving in 2017 when Donald Trump was president. And we know that Epstein's own brother said that Jeffrey Epstein thought Donald Trump was a terrible person. He thought he was despicable, morally reprehensible. Jeffrey Epstein. If that guy is saying you suck, it's like inconceivable how bad of a person you are. And that is Donald Trump. So why is he melting down right now? Well, he knows the walls are closing in around him. He knows that Democrats are telling those working in the DOJ it is time to step up and it is time to hear from whistleblowers, because if you are going along with what Pam Bondi is doing right now, you are breaking the law alongside her and you should be held accountable for that. So of course Donald Trump is going to be melting down on Truth Social. Of course Donald Trump is going to be freaking out. And of course Donald Trump is going to be implicating himself further by saying that this is all a hoax and it doesn't matter and we should just look over there and stop paying attention. What he is advocating for is the breaking of a law he signs. That is what is happening this Christmas as Donald Trump completely loses his mind. That is what is happening. And it's because he knows what's coming next. More accountability that Rogana broke down right here.
And what we see is that the Department of Justice, frankly, and this is not exaggeration, is more concerned about hurting the reputation of the rich and powerful men who abuse the survivors than they are protecting the survivors. When it came to the survivors, they've released the names. In one case, a survivor's name was released in a horrible way. And she then asked why the FBI file which she was mentioned in was not released. They didn't release the file she's mentioned in, though she's requesting it, and they released her name. So they're breaking the law very clearly.
There is no escaping the accountability that is coming to Donald Trump. There is no wiggling his way out of this one. We know what is happening at the DOJ. We know that Trump is implicated, not just in the crimes themselves, but the cover-up. And it goes so much deeper than what we've just seen over the past couple of days, weeks, and months. I want to know what was happening in the first administration. We already know that a U.S. attorney was making it clear, was flagging for the administration as a whole, that Donald Trump was closely involved with Ghislaine Maxwell. He wasn't just buddies with Jeffrey Epstein. It's very important to understand, as this was not just them at parties, this was not just them committing crimes together. He was part of this larger operation. Why do you think he wants to cover up for so many other people, not just himself? It is because Donald Trump knows that if those people have to go on the record, he is going to get the flack as well. It is just going to be more evidence coming out. And so we have to push for transparency. We're going to do so every single day. You know that because it's Christmas and we're still calling out as bullshit. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Merry Christmas, y'all. I'm in my holiday PJs still. I went and saw a movie in them. I dressed like this in public because I'm in the Christmas spirit and I don't care. And we're just going to have fun. And I hope you are as well. I will continue to embarrass myself in my holiday PJs today because I'll be damned if anyone takes away my Christmas spirit. It's not happening. Go see Marty Supreme. Christmas Day. Dream big. Until next time, I'll see y'all soon.